So, welcome, and we're back live, and so we'll run around and introduce ourselves, and you folks can introduce yourselves, and we'll get started.
Ryan Collmore, representative Rutland District.
Irene Renner, Chittenden North plus Fairfax.
I'm Brian Campion. And I'm Rich Westman. I'm from Webb.
And I'm Bobby Starr from Orleans. So we're pretty well geographically scattered around. So welcome, and maybe you folks could introduce yourselves, or would you like to start? Or?
I could start for the record. I'm an executive director of the Vermont Youth Conservation Corps. Thanks, David. Yeah, why don't we do a quick round of introductions, and then I'll flow into my remarks here.
David Mears, I'm the executive director of Audubon, Vermont.
I'm Ronnie Fosden, the executive director at Vermont Works for Women.
I'm Kate Lutman. I'm the director of Serve Learner. Andrew Sun.
And we have Andrew Jope.
Morning. Hope you can hear me. Andrew Jope. I'm the training director at Resource.
Yeah. Well, welcome. And so, Brett, why don't you get started? And it's, I mean, we're lucky to get this time to get your folks in.
Well, so we're grateful for the invitation and a chance to come in and talk about Serve, Learn, Earn. It is affirming to see the geographic representation around the table. In many ways, it's a mirror of the way in which Serve, Learn, Earn is in all corners of Vermont. So it's a good start to the conversation. Our Serve, Learn, Earn partnership has had a really successful year, and just excited to share a little bit about the accomplishments, ideas we have as we look ahead. Because I think this is the first time that we've been in this committee, I'll spend just a couple minutes talking about and defining, providing an overview of what Serve, Learn, Earn is. And then, given the focus of this committee towards the end of my remarks, I might talk more specifically about the farm at BYC, because we have a fully diversified vegetable and poultry farm that is really something to celebrate, and an example of the way in which Vermont is just this center for and laboratory for agricultural innovation. It's really fun to be part of. Serve, Learn, Earn is working. It's emerged as what we think of as an essential and effective, efficient, innovative workforce development strategy. We can provide this information for you. Just the other day, sent in our interim report of accomplishments to Forest Parks and Recreation, and it was fun to tally up the number of people who've come in and worked and learned and served in our programs. So a little bit of history. 3 years ago, really in the depth of the pandemic, BYCC was thinking about how can we create more paid service training opportunities for young people. And it really became clear that there are other organizations who are doing this work, and we should be partnering with those other organizations. And while our respective missions and the demographic groups that we work with are different, there is a lot of overlap. And I think the through line that runs through the 4 organizations of Serve, Learn, Earn is that we're paying our participants as part of their experience in our organizations. And that paid component is really important for 2 main reasons, I'd say. One is because we're paying folks, it creates an equitable access. People can come into the organizations, they can access the programs. They don't have to pay to be trained, they're actually compensated for that training. The second piece is, if you think about the programmatic and the learning outcomes, we believe that the best way to prepare someone for the workforce is to actually give them a job. And because they're getting paid, we can create a structure and a culture within our organizations that's very similar to what they'll expect when they go in, quote unquote, the real world, the workforce, if you will. And they've already learned those soft skills as well as the technical skills that we're trained for. So that paid compensation is an important point that I want to hit up front. I talked about the way in which Serve, Learn, Earn has had a strong year. Some metrics that we're looking at, the number of our participants has grown over the past year. We're expanding our geographic reach, so we're in more communities, we're in new communities. We're enhancing and adding new credentials for participants when they come into our trainings. The number of partners that we have is expanded, and we've also raised a significant amount of private philanthropic dollars as well as federal dollars, so we're able to leverage the state funds that we've been provided over the last couple of years, and use that as match in many cases to bring new dollars into the state. And most importantly, we're connecting our graduates with employers. And before I stop, I want to hand out a letter of support from different employers. I'm a recovering teacher, so I'm not going to give you this because I'm the minute I give you this, you're going to stop paying attention to me. But I do have this, and I'm excited to share it. You might think of Serve, Learn, Earn as a strategy to fill the gap. And so what is that gap? What is that need that we're really addressing? At VYCC, we're really focused on the 16 to 24-year-old demographic. So we have in Vermont one of the highest high school graduation rates in the country, but one of the lowest college matriculation rates. See you all nodding, so this isn't necessarily groundbreaking news for you all. But what it does is it points to the fact that we recognize that if you are a high school graduate and you're not bound for college, and college isn't for everyone. So part of our work is destigmatizing a career track that doesn't involve a college degree, but also providing continued, really thoughtful, relevant, robust training for folks who do graduate from high school, but then don't go on to college. So Serve, Learn, Earn is a strategy to provide that training and create pathways for those folks who aren't necessarily going on to college.
16 to 24.
16 to 24. So that's VYCC's primary group. Other organizations within Serve, Learn, Earn serve that demographic group, but also folks who are a bit older too. So in this year, we expect to enroll over 400 participants next year with continued and increased funding. We set a target of 500. Right now, all of our organizations have more applicants than we do have positions. So I'll share at VYCC, we currently have 340 applicants for 190 positions. So increased funding will help us offer more positions. There's a direct correlation there. I think I want to turn my attention, just because I know time is finite here, and talk about the farm at VYCC. Big picture, VYCC has two primary programs. One is our conservation program. That's what we're best known for. We build trails, we do water quality work, we do some forest work, infrastructure and state park.
You still up on 2? Is it
Still up where?
the farm?
Yeah, Route 2.
On Route 2, yes. Yeah. And then we have our food farm program where the monitor barns are on our campus there in Richmond. Exactly. And that is a 9 to 12 acre, depending on the year, diversified organic vegetable and poultry farm. All of the food that our core members grow, and there's roughly 90 core members in any given year. So high school students to some college grads who come and work and learn with us, about 90 of them. All of that food is then distributed through partnerships with medical centers. And the medical centers have identified families, patients who have struggled with food insecurity or diet-related illness, and then they get a weekly CSA. It's called the Healthcare Share. It's one of the largest CSAs in Vermont. We have approximately 425 Healthcare Share members, roughly 1,000 plus people in any given year who benefit from this initiative. So you might think about it as a triangle where you have service, food security, and agriculture as different points of the triangle with a whole bunch of learning in the middle. It's our 10th season of the Healthcare Share. We're really working to take what's now a 16-week season and expand that out to close to a year-round season. So we've received some NRCS funding for a new propagation house, new hoop houses, some private funding for other infrastructure projects. So in the coming years, that number of healthcare share participants will increase, as will the length of duration of the CSA that we're offering. And again, just to maybe to wrap up a bit where I started, Vermont has been this incredible laboratory of agricultural innovation, and to have BYCC be at the center of that, or the conversation there, has really been a fun journey for us over the last 10 years. So I'd welcome your questions. I do think we want to hear from Ronnie. I will share that we have requested a $2.4 million appropriation. We are encouraged by the way in which the House has embraced that and moved that over to the Senate side. We are asking that be included in base funding, and David, I think, will speak to the rationale behind that. But now we've gone from House and we're over in Senate, and we're engaged in the conversations with the Senate to further that goal. So.
Yeah, well, some of us have pulled the BYCC, worked with them a lot of
decades,
years.
yeah, sure.
And, but it, like Irene is new, so it's, maybe, did you know about the BYCC a little before you got here?
I used to ferry bread from Bread and Butter Farm when they did bread down there up to the CSA, and I don't know if it was a healthcare share that, it was a precursor to that.
It's really
I've been in the
grown.
monitor barn several times.
Yeah,
And that's grown, and our network of
Right.
partners there has grown.
no, the work that happens is do a lot with the parks, right?
Yep.
The summer, and they said they're short of help constantly.
Yeah, so in any given year, we'll do 24 to 32 crew weeks of work with Vermont Forest Parks and Rec. The biggest part of that is up in your neck of the woods, Senator, up near Groton,
Yeah.
and all the parks that are in and around those.
Yeah, we're trying to keep those waters all nice and clean up there. We aren't polluted too bad yet, so trying to keep the boats washed and,
Keep milfoil out. So that's we're focused on that. Enjoy the partnership there.
yeah, questions from the committee? If not, we'll move on to, you want Ronnie, go next?
Great, one last note on this.
Yeah.
One thing that's exciting about this is you'll see the employers on here really represent different sectors, different industries. Right, so you'll see construction, you'll see weatherization, renewable energy, outdoor recreation, forestry. These are all places where our graduates have gone and worked, and people are really appreciative. It doesn't represent all the places, of course, but we wanted to show the breadth of placements, if you will.
And are you finding there's young people that many young men don't seem to want to go on to college after high school, and we were talking with the university, and they're pushing like 2/3 now are women and only females, and only 1/3 are males. And, it's kind of a disturbing trend, because it used to be, well, years back, it was like 60-40 flip. And then it got to 50-50, and it hung there for quite a few years, but I don't know, for some reason, our young high school graduate males aren't wanting to belong to school, so it's great to see that they can get signed up with you folks and get a career.
CCD is seeing the same trend. Yeah. So they did some program that focused on, I think, recent high school graduates.
In our program, it's about 50-50.
It is, so you're doing,
Which we strive for, there's fluctuations in every given year. And we're generally pretty close, generally pretty good at hitting the goal.
well, very
Okay,
good.
Thank you very much.
When I'm here to talk all about the women getting into those roles. But I'm Ronnie Basden. I'm the executive director at Vermont Works for Women. And just a brief overview, Vermont Works for Women originally started in 1987. It was started by 3 tradeswomen with really a mission to get women into more trades and construction careers, readily provide training for industry recognized credentialing for women, and also help work with employers and systems for long-term gains and diversifying our workforce. And today, while some numbers have changed in college and training programs, we still see women majority underrepresented in some of our fastest growing and highest need jobs across Vermont. Across our career and tech centers, we see less than 11% of women enrolled in any of these high need careers. And when we look at some of our construction or state agency job roles, less than 3% are actually in shovel-ready tool jobs. Most of them are in desk or administrative roles. So Vermont Works for Women is really working to combat this. We need more women in the workforce. We need more workers in the workforce, and there's whole untapped potential across our state. We work in 3 different buckets. We start with our youth programming that really tries to build curiosity and confidence in our youth in taking on these careers. You may not see women in these roles, but it doesn't mean you cannot access them. And a lot of times, if we can get a chainsaw in their hands, they're motivated enough to continue on those career pathways. We also, in those programs, which is called our Rosie's Girls programs, those are across the state. So from Brattleboro to Rutland to Barre to South Burlington, to Franklin, Grand Isles.
Bennington.
We are, that's my hometown, it's down in there, but we're not in Bennington yet. We are expanding. We've been in Floodbrook and we've been in Pulteney with this. I know, we're trying.
I make a
to-
motion to strike the appropriation.
Done now.
Is that an order?
Southwest.
I know, I know.
We can say Bennington County as a
Oh,
larger entity, if that
Okay.
helps, yes.
Pretty good.
And what age group do you?
So for our Rosie's Girls program, that is middle through high school girls, is who we're focusing on.
Start early. then,
We
yeah.
start very early to try to dismantle some of those stereotypes and barriers to even looking at those careers or pathways. We then also run women's programming. So through our Serve, Learn, and Earn partnership, we run what's called our Trailblazers Trades Training Program. So this program is 100% free and it is opened up to any woman or gender expansive individual 16 plus. There's no requirement to get into the program. If you are willing to work and want to be trained, we want to train you. This program runs on nights and weekends. It's a paid training opportunity, so that way people can still be working, but also help accommodate any childcare or schooling needs as well. But the program helps train women in construction, electrical, plumbing, heat pump install, and weatherization. So they are job ready to take on these roles, but they are also ready and have the confidence to weatherize their homes or support their communities as well. These programs also run across the state. There's 7-week cohort models. So these are in very similar communities: Brattleboro, Rutland, Barre, White River Junction, South Burlington, and then expanding into Newport next year with a new training cohort. We partner with local employers, and women are engaged in a 2-week work experience. We also pay those women for the work experience. That's not on the employer, but that's really to start building relationship, building confidence on site, starting to learn what those industries and careers can look like. And then our third bucket is really looking at the systems level. We want long-term gains in building our workforce, and we really want to work with both schools and employers and industries to dismantle some of those stereotypes around entering a trade school or around going into construction fields or what that could look like. So we provide gender equity services, consulting, and support from state agency level to direct employers to K through 12 schools to really help work with them and partner to better build these programs.
So, Brian,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about the intersection with CTEs.
Yeah.
Obviously, it happens,
It
right?
happens. We partner very, very heavily with CT schools, so we are usually contracted with them through their Perkins 5 funding, and we work with them in 2 ways. One, we want to help their recruitment. So we want to drive the youth that we're seeing in our middle and high school programs into those career centers. But while we're seeing them go in, they have to be retained. If you were the only girl in that auto mechanics, program, there's not a lot of likelihood you're going to graduate. So we try to also then work with the schools to follow youth through graduation, work with teachers and administrators. What are those barriers? What are those challenges? How can we help encourage it? Some of the ways is trying to get girls to join in cohorts. If you can join with a friend, a lot of times you'll be more successful. And so we really see that with our high school programming. But a lot of it drives those girls to say, we could do this. This does look fun. And we take them to the Career Tech Center. Our Career Tech Centers are amazing. They provide incredible hands-on training and tech support. And we want to see more youth utilizing them. And so that's one way our organization tries to support programs.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety department.
Go to your left, go to your left, and then to your left again. Of course, when you all get up there, will you text me?
Yeah, I don't have your cell, but,
Please, may I have your attention, please?
okay.
This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit.
Linda, you should be the first.
Yeah, I know, Linda, you get out there.
I'm in charge of getting you all out.
All right.
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor work. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor work. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor work. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor work. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor work. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor work. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor work. in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety for work.
There's still a line.
May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor warden. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor warden. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor warden. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor warden. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor warden. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area, the closest stairwell or exit. Assemble in your designated area and check in with your fire and life safety floor warden. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building hazarded area and check in with your fire and life and safety warden. May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? This is a building evacuation. Gather your belongings if they are within reach and evacuate the building using the designated route for your area with the closest stairwell route.
Yeah, so, you know, I mean.
Myself, you know, too quickly.
I know, I'm really, it's,